All right. What's going on, everybody? This is Joe from BMT2 Unfiltered. Is my mic right? Okay, yeah, it's right. I'm pretty much here with an amazing cast. Oh my gosh. I knew I was doing it wrong. Okay, there I got it. Fix it. So here we go. We're doing a live recording. I wanted to do this interview with two outstanding self-made people. I was going to call and try to get a brother, but then again, I already got a few of them already doing other shows. So I'm like, I don't want to stress them out and strain you, like overstress them in the shows. But I was lucky enough to get in touch with Red, and then I also was lucky enough to grab Nicole at the right time. But the topic I wanted to talk about today was, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, brother? Hang on, I told you I'll do you a solid. Let me get you a solid. There we go. Boom. So what I wanted to talk about is, why is it important for individuals to become self-made? This is something that a lot of us, we need to start talking about. This is something that I don't feel like we push this enough in school, in our affiliated groups, in our talking points and YouTube and stuff. I feel like we're not trying to tell our people to become self-made. Oh, I should have known MOT definitely. He wants in on this one because this is definitely speaks his volumes. I'm going to pass it off to Lady Red, Miss Red. You and I know you are definitely a well-established person. Why is it that you feel that we as individuals are not pushing enough for us to be self-made individuals in today's open market?
Complicated, maybe not complicated. I don't know. So a lot of people will probably, have something to say about what you just said about me personally being self-made, because I work for the man. But I feel like, there's definitely a place for everybody in whatever you decide to do. So it's like, if you decide to have a traditional job, a lot of the self-made jobs that people have these days, it's like what is it? The structured Ponzi scheme type of crap. You know what I'm saying? What is
it? Yeah, those damn jobs.
I'm not into, begging my family to buy stuff for me to get money and then tell them to bring their coworkers in. Just that annoying person that you don't want to see at Thanksgiving. But I think a lot of basically why, Black people don't necessarily have that self-made title is the things that we have access to, and we don't really have those examples of people that are quote unquote self-made and kind of come back and show us that roadmap. Like, you have other nationalities of families where, they do certain things and they keep it in the family. That's like a family business, and they pass it down from generation to generation. Then we get into the whole like generational wealth type of thing. This can go a lot of ways, but primarily, I think the reason why we don't have that is we don't necessarily have good examples of that.
Okay. All right. Nicole, you have a lot of good business talk. And I agree, like, we don't have a lot of good examples. But Nicole, why is it that you're thinking that us as young individuals that we need to start pushing to be more self-made in our life nowadays, especially in 2018, with the way how the job market is going? Why is it that you believe that we need to become more self-made?
When you say self-made, you mean like, because when I think of self-made, I'm thinking of working for myself. Mm-hmm. But that, even if you work for someone else, you can still make your money work for you. And it's important because Blacks are their own capital, and capital equals wealth. So unless you have your money working for you, then you'll never get ahead and you'll never build wealth, because Black people, when they buy property or land, it depreciates in value instead of appreciating for the most part. So the only way that we can build wealth, and I mean to pass it down for generations, is if we have capital. That means we have to earn our own income. So even if you work for someone else, you should make part of that invested and have it make income without you being there, like a passive income. So that's why it's important. Within a couple decades, the median net worth of Black people is looking to be at zero, and then Hispanics at zero, like a couple years later. So it's really important.
Dang, you broke it down on the analytical level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, She went down. She went down dirty. We have with us the head honcho that when y'all hear his story, you break down in tears. It's like something from the Wild West. This is a self-made businessman from the rags to the riches. I never known a day when this man is not working and wearing a damn good-looking suit. Man of tomorrow. I know you preach about it every breath you speak. Why is it important of now that Black young men start to learn the value of becoming self-made individuals?
I mean, it just brings a sort of peace that you can't get anywhere else. You know, I mean, every day I work, I think about those days where I was in Mississippi and I never had these opportunities. I was dreaming about the days that I could be able to have this opportunity to do this for myself. You know, my grandfather showed me the pictures of him coming back from World War II, and they was trying to, you know, jerk him out of his VA loan, and he built half the small town where we grew up at, but he could never get a loan for his own business. You know, I mean, it's just that times are way different, and it's just that I wish they had more of these examples, but these environments that these people are in pretty much teaches them some very incredibly bad things, and they can't really kind of shake or even see past, you know, the next day or the next meal, so that way they can long-term.
I agree. And being that you went off of that, I'm gonna boomerang it back to Red. Red, you said that people wouldn't say that you're self-made because you chose your path to take on governmental work. Now, we all know here on this panel, because we've all at some point taken on governmental contracts, jobs, at some point to the highest epsilon. Some of us have made it higher. It's good money, benefits. Why is it that other people would try to redefine that what is self-made? Like, I thought it was something as to you risen out of one type of environment and you can make more lateral and horizontal movements on the board.
Yeah, that's a very educated thought process you have there. You must have made it past like at least 5th grade or something. I don't know. I mean, like a lot of people definitely see the government as a negative thing, just historically for Blacks, you know what I'm saying? So why it's almost like working for the enemy. But just like you said, it's like a lateral move. So I feel like I built myself up to this point, you know, from joining the military and basically finding a job that I love, furthering my education in that. It's just like, you know, stepping stones. When I knew I was done with the military, like, okay, I got what I came here for, which primarily my education. And then, you know, to continue that on the outside and to find things that made me better at my job. So I think it's important that we find something that we're good at and we stick to it and we build on it, because a lot of people kind of like, I understand, you know, you might at some point in time decide to transition careers, which my transitional career will be law school, but it'll still have something to do with my overall objective, still dealing with, you know, technology and things like that. But a lot of people, you know, they just kind of bounce around and don't try to hone their skills on one thing or something that they're passionate about. But I think when you find your passion, then that makes it easier for you to, you know, move about and maneuver and make those moves to, like, you know, the young lady said, even when it comes to building that wealth to, you know, buy real estate or make sure your funds are allocated properly and you're setting yourself up for success, you know. But a lot of people don't, you know, think that way. It's not self-made unless you're taking something, you know, like a talent. And some might think, you know, computers isn't a talent because you're taught it. Maybe they think it's like, you know, the fact that you can run fast or the fact that you can sing or something like that or throw a football. So, okay, I'm self-made in the aspect that I took a God-given talent and made it far, and not something that was taught to me and made it far.
I'm not gonna
I
lie,
wasn't
that had me.
thinking of real estate though, because how can blacks buy real estate with no capital, no money? So I wasn't really thinking of that. I really mean to. It doesn't take as much as people think to start a business. I mean, I started my first one at 9. Just saying. So you just have to find something that makes an income, and you spend less than you make, and then you can hire someone, to do it for you, so that way you can still work. It doesn't
Mhm.
really matter like how much you make, because income is not wealth. I just really believe in buying things that appreciate and not depreciate in value. I'm not that one that's going to be buying like a bunch of outfits. I will wear the same thing because I buy 5 of the same shirts anyway. So I'm just saying that until blacks get to a point, um, we have horrible spending habits. There's just so much. I mean, I started my first job as a teenager was like I started a house cleaning business. So it wasn't
Mm.
glamorous, but I would take a house, and I would charge what, like, I would charge, I don't know, I would get like $400, but I only paid my workers $20 an hour, no matter what I made. So it doesn't really matter what kind of business you do. It doesn't even have to be a business. You can. I used to buy like land and sell that, which is only like you could buy it for like $10,000. So whatever it is, I'm just saying, because we're not going to get any help from the government. But I don't think the government is evil. I think that the government is just not for black people.
That was very interesting, and I want to talk about that before I pass it over to MOT. I worked, scrubbed floors, swept, worked at a gas station. I busted my behind to where I am today. My hands either cracked, lips were blistered, whatever. And I'm gonna tell you, um, you don't have to own a business to be self-made. That's the first lie that a lot of people or a lot of things tell you. I'm gonna tell you right now. Y'all see me. I make money,
I agree.
and I do very well. But y'all see me almost every other day wearing a white T-shirt and sweatpants. For those who see me, like I'm so comfortable in my money, I have nothing to prove to anybody. Put it like that. That's when you know you made it to a point in your life. Because when I see people running out, like I saw people running out for Black Friday. And my brother said, Joe, did you go out for Black Friday? I said, why? No. And he was like, well, why didn't you go? I said, well, whatever I see I want, I just go get it.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait for a certain day by the government where they just, hey, no taxes or something. I work my butt off till I get it. Like I don't have to wait for no messiah. I don't have to wait for no like person to give me a go. Like that is my definition of me being self-made. This is what I want to push towards men. This is what I want to push towards families. This is what I want to push towards black structure or people in general, that you're made it into an epiphany in your life where what you desire, you just work for until you get it. And then you're at a comfortable place in your life where you know that I'm doing good today, but I know I can do better tomorrow. So I'm going to set out for that. So my mentality is far different than how some people. That's why I got a panel of self-made individuals, because what people taught us logically that this is as good as it gets for us. And for those who are watching, I want us to understand that what society and what people around you may say, hey man, don't go do that, or hey, you're gonna work or take on that job. Like the self-made person doesn't follow by the logic of other people. They go by the logic what they want to do, and they set their own standards. So I'm gonna pass it over to MOT, because if I'm wrong what I'm saying, brother, let me know. But you already know our struggle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that you just have to come to a place in your life to where you have a goal. Like me, I really don't want for a lot, and I don't really need a lot, and I make a shit ton of fucking money. And guess what? I'm not going out here doing stupid shit. I'm not going out here trying to impress anybody. I mean, to me, it's much easier now than it was when I was slamming 15 hours back to back, trying to get all this stuff, trying to keep up with all this stuff. It's just that, man, look, once you check out of that old mindset of working for everybody's happiness or try to impress the parking lot, so hopefully somebody can look in your direction. I mean, like, once you're done with all that, then you can just simply use money as the tool that it was supposed to be used for, rather than misusing the shit out of money for things that it was never meant to. Like, once you get to that level, like, man, like, nothing else really even matters all that much other than your own happiness and your own health. So.
Yeah, I agree with what he said. It definitely takes like hard work no matter what. And I think that's something people don't understand. Like, when I first got in the military, I had 2 full-time jobs, was in the reserve, did independent contracts. It's like, okay, this is what I got to do to solidify myself so I don't have to at least go back to that, because that's not what I wanted to do. And there were some times I worked a lot of hours, but that still helped me because I was perfecting my craft. And then, it got to the point where it's like, I don't have to work a lot of hours. I don't have to work weekends. And when I interview for a job, it's like, okay, this is what I expect from my employer. This is what you should be able to expect from me. And it's like, okay, I'm going to write the number I want in the check. You know what I'm saying? So that, to me, that is a part of being self-made, also being able to set the terms, even if you work for someone else, you know what I'm saying? Because they value what you're bringing to the table. And like I said, no matter what, you're going to have to work hard to get anywhere in life. So it's just like, make sure you're working towards something. So
let's talk about that, brother. Red, you hit on something very fiery hot on that one, because I remember, like, when I first started working on sewer pipes, and it's a dirty job, but it pays really well. I don't know how some of y'all know how much a sewer pipe, a pipe layer gets paid. No pun intended. But starting pay for me was at $19. It was $19. Depending on the depth of how deep we were digging, and I've dug 200 feet deep, my pay just went up to, I was getting paid $35 an hour just sitting. Sometimes if I just sat there, regardless, like, they were like, man, do you do anything else? I'm like, no, I don't have to do anything. I was still getting paid. Like, we got paid. The thing about it is, once you start building up your gross value and you start knowing the amount that you're worth, doors start opening. Let me say that again. Like, doors start opening. I started to learn how to work a backhoe. This is why I implore you guys, when y'all go to work, don't just be satisfied with just the one job you do. Learn the whole playing field. I can't stand people when they go to a job, they say that, oh, wait, well, I only get paid to do this. When I worked at Walmart as a TLE, my first job only was just to put air in tires. But then they didn't have nobody to go into the pit and change the car. But I guess because I actually was reading a book on how to properly change oil, and I already took the test. Nicole, mute yourself real quick. So while you're talking,
Sorry.
just go ahead. Thank you. I mute you. You can unmute yourself when you're ready. Because I was willing to take on more things, and me and MOT tell y'all time and time again, just like Red just said, you got to start learning trades. You got to start picking up every grain of knowledge that comes in front of your doorstep. Put it in a jar. You never know when you're going to need it. I didn't think, well, what's the point of me learning how to use a backhoe or a forklift? You know how many times I came across, and I've seen jobs in the newspaper, hey, you need forklift drivers paying $22 an hour. You only work for 5 hours out of the day, 3 days out of the week. Guaranteed pay every week. That's easy. Forklift drivers don't do a lot. They just sit on a forklift and just drive it around. It's mainly fun. Like, the menial little stupid things I picked up, I was surprised that people were paying money for that. And the thing about this is why I try to tell a lot of you black people, y'all need to stop listening to other outside voices like, oh man, I can't ever see myself doing that. You're right. You can't see yourself doing that, but you're not me.
And they're the ones that don't have jobs, the ones that's telling you not to do it.
Preach. Like, I don't understand y'all. Like, any of y'all want to throw your input on this? I get tired of the naysayers. And see, this is the problem with a lot of the black community. I'm going to say it. I'm not trying to make it a black thing, but it is what it is. Y'all be looking at white people crazy when y'all say, I can't believe they do that with, like, I know a dude who works at SeaWorld, going into the killer whale, like feeding the killer whales and stuff. Now, mind you, this kid never knew anything about killer whales. All he did was just, hey, I'm just going to apply. You don't know what you're capable of until you apply yourself and actually put forth the effort. Not everything you need to do. Y'all got to have some faith in yourself, man. Y'all really do. Stop listening to the naysayers, because the naysayers will tell you something just so that way you don't leave that community. You don't leave that neighborhood. Like, I met men who have never stepped foot in a classroom, and they make over $100,000 a year. But it took time. Like, they had to bust their ass, and that's something I want to tell y'all. But I'm gonna tell you right now. I can tell you right now, everybody on this panel, the one word that we all hate is entitlement. And I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna start it off with Nicole. Nicole, if you're ready, or I'm gonna give it to MOT. Why do you think self-made people don't agree with people who look for entitlement? I think she's still dealing. MOT, are you free to talk?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're self-entitlement. So I use my kids for example. My daughter has this thing where she's always saying she has money, and I'll say, how much money do you have? Because you have nothing. You have what I'm going to give you, and I haven't given you anything yet. And the way that it's going, you're not getting an inheritance. So if you're self,
wow.
I already
Cole's a savage, man.
I'm sorry, but that's how it is. I already took back her car because we got her a car for, that we were going to set up for her 16th birthday. She had a BMW white convertible, hardtop, and everything.
Ooh.
And then right? I'm a good mom. So anyways, because each year we were going to bling it and do like special stuff to it. She has a budget where she can spend like, not a lot, like $5,000 on a car, just on like for Christmas. So anyways, my point is this. We don't like it because we've worked for it and we weren't handed anything, and we don't have anything we can't send our kids to college. We can't, when I say we, I know there's an exception for everyone, but we can't just buy our kids a car. I mean, we had to work very hard, and if you feel entitled, you're not going to cherish or work hard for what I did, and you're going to lose it by the time you're a grown-up, because you won't know anything about investing or not spending ridiculously. It's mine, not yours, until I give it to you.
I agree. We have people that said, and I told y'all, if you're in the chat room, ask us any question you want. You have an amazing panel right here. If you ask us the question, you have Mana tomorrow, you have Nicole, you have Mrs. Red, you got me. We all know business. We know about real estate. We know about schooling and the government and different other stuff. Now's the time, brothers. Most of the time you pay for these type of classes on how to build up your own brand, LLCs, companies, Fortune 500. We all make well over the means. We're all upper middle class and higher. So if you got a question, I'm telling you right here, these are, like I told y'all, these shows right here are the shows that people miss because they like, oh, when you're gonna do that seminar, I got to pay $200. We're not charging you. We're not charging you for that. We just want you to get the knowledge so that way you can take it and learn from it. If you have a question on something, ask us. Just ask us. Like, we'll answer it. We'll answer. We'll answer. I'm not making y'all super chat. I'm not making y'all do anything. I just want you to ask this question so that way y'all can equip yourself with the knowledge you need. So ask the question. I'll read your comments and they will answer it to you. Frantonio said that's a great start. Education is expensive. So if you have tuition, readmission, or education benefits, you have to take advantage of it. I did the same thing. I was afraid I would regret it. Another guy said, BMT, I have several, but I'll keep it to a minimal. No, ask the question, man. We'll answer them. How do we make good contracts for a small business? Gloss over the process. Also discuss how to enforce agreements and add contracts. Okay, I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna let MOT answer about the entitlement, and then after that, we're gonna go over your question. MOT, are you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. About the entitlement, why is it that self-made people have a disdain for people who look for entitlement, self-entitlements?
I mean, it's an extreme limitation of yourself whenever you get those things. And then you be in a situation to where you can't rise above or fall below a certain point because you are taking these entitlements. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't need them. Hell, I grew up off of them. My dad had died. But I'm just saying that it's not meant to be a life-sustaining thing. You know, you need to be there. Like, you know, I go back home. You know, there's women who haven't had kids in 30-some years who are still somehow on Section 8. Never left the community. Never seen them. I mean, it's just an extreme limiting factor for people in their life. And I tell people, like, this little money that you're getting from the government, I'm like, man, you can go find some stuff to sell on eBay. You can make this in a day. I mean, it's like, I think like accepting stuff from the government, it's like a minimum wage. Well, I don't want a minimum. I want a maximum wage based off of my work and what I do. Mm-hmm. And it's just that it's hard to get the people to see that profits are better than wages. Right. It's hard to get people to see that. Like, you know, there was a guy, you know, he used to, you know, sell crack or whatever. I told him, like, dude, listen, you can houses. That dude flipped his house for like 10 grand. You know, that dude probably owns half of the small town that he went back to. Yeah, because he was so shocked. He can make so much money and not have to deal with any problem. Period. You know, he did the right thing, cut off his family, let some old friends go, but man, you're limiting yourself to take the handouts. Yeah, it's bad.
I agree. Okay. Let's start answering some of these questions. I told you guys, if you have the questions, we will answer them at the best we can. First question comes up from BK from the Rockies. BMT. All right, so he already asked it. How do we make good contracts for small businesses? That's the first part of the question. Who wants to take that one? How do you make good contracts for a small business? Does anybody know? I can tell you on my part. Huh?
What does he mean by contracts? Like business contracts?
I would think so.
A business plan? What does he mean? Oh, I see.
Okay. Yeah. So you want to know how to make business contracts for a small business. I want to tell you like this. When it comes to contracts, especially for business, first off, if you're starting with a small business, naturally, I would say you want to within the first 7 years, and anybody can correct me or jump in. You're going to start in at the negative. If you ever know anything about business, you're always going to come in at the negative. So, I usually try to tell people don't deal with the bank. That's me. I have a reason why I don't deal. I try not to deal with the bank if I can help it, because then whatever you're making, you really don't see. You're really not going to see, because you're more so trying to catch up and get yourself out of the debt. Does that make sense with everybody on the panel? Do y'all get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. When it comes to these contracts, you're more so a slave to your own business. This is why a lot of people, when they start businesses, in the first 3 years, they really don't last.
Or you fail. If you make it the first 3 years, then you're on point. But then you're in that region of failure. More the like third year.
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very stressful. Like when it comes to contracts, what I would do, like when I first started off, I was doing contracts that it's not the money that I wanted at first, but it was reasonable. It was reasonable. Like, let's say somebody was doing painting in a house. Like, if somebody, I would look at, like, some guys were charging $100 to $200 for painting. Now, naturally, I'm going to charge much lesser. So you charge $100, I'm charging $75 to paint, or probably $60 to paint. Now, who are you gonna pay for? You're gonna pay for that guy who's $70 to $60. Why? Because he's a lot cheaper. You can get him. Now, in doing that, guess what? Who's gonna get more jobs? Me.
Bro, I would actually pay for the more expensive guy.
I know you would, but here's the reason why. Let me tell you why. Let me show you. I'll give you an example. How do you think small Latino businesses have been beating American businesses as of late?
They're not beating that much, though. They're not really the ones that's ahead. But go ahead.
But hang on. They're not. But here's the thing. I watched in Florida a dude who his son, they cut grass. Now they're only doing is cutting grass and weed whacking. Now, for every apartment complex that I spoke to the son, him and the son, they only charge about, I want to say they only charge about $1,000. $1,000 to do that complex. Mind you, the bigger name contract, when I looked at it, I said, yo, like, why aren't you charging like $3,000 or anything like that? He said, well, we got this one, and then in 2 days later, we got to do another contract. They made their money and then some. Now, as you grow and you're using more, optimal equipment, like how much do y'all think what kind of equipment do you think they use to cut the highway? And ain't no expensive shit to cut the highway. I can tell you that I can give you the price of those lawnmowers and those old tractors that they use for the state. Those are pieces of crap equipment. If you work for the government, they don't use fancy equipment to do the job. They use the bare minimum. You got to learn how to work with the bare minimum and take the lower road until you can actually start naming like Red said, when I got to that level where I can start naming my price, when I got to that level where my name itself carried the money. See, your name yourself carries the weight. If you're like, oh, well, Nicole Diaz, she does good house cleaning. Well, how much she charges? $400. Well, why would I want to pay $400? Well, the quality of work that she does. But how did you get that type of
house?
Huh?
It was a big house. It was a big house, so I figured out per hour.
Well, of course, but people already knew about the quality of work that you output. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if they already knew that you got good quality work and it's very thorough, they're going to tell more people. You get more contracts because they're seeing that, listen, these girls come by in about 2 to 3 or 4 hours. Your house is clean. Now, you already have to pay for equipment. Let's count the equipment, the gas to get there, plus also the workers and also the time it takes to be there. I used to do house cleaning. I know. That's just a bitch. You're going to go through quite a few bottles and a lot of equipment. Plus, depending on how in depth you're going with buffering floors, vacuuming, steam cleaning, washing clothes and stuff. Yeah. So you gotta start. You gotta take on the job that people don't take on. The second part of the question is, let me make sure I get it. And discuss how to enforce agreements on contracts. Again, underbid the competitors. I'm sorry. You underbid the competitors, you're going to win.
Geez. But you don't want to underbid them by much, though.
No. I'm not saying you underbid them I'm not telling you take something where you're not making nothing, but you want to underbid your competitors.
Yeah, and if it's a contract, it's a contract. It's enforceable. I agree with Nicole. Like, I believe I actually just had this discussion with a friend of mine. So she owns her own nonprofit. Of course, the goal is to, I guess, not profit. Not my thing, but it works for her. and she's also a life coach, and she makes like specially crafted teas and things like that. So there was an event coming up, and she basically sold her tea at a discount to the person. But I feel like, you shouldn't be, if your product, like, certain brands, they don't put their stuff on sale. You didn't see Louis Vuitton doing a Black Friday sale because they know what was that?
I just thought it was funny when you said Louis Vuitton and Black Friday sale.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they don't do that because they know the quality of their brand. So it's just like, if you got a good brand, then don't sell yourself short just to make a dollar. Like, people are gonna buy it because it's great. There's not, it doesn't have to be, cheap for it to be great. If you make something and you think it's worth $150, then somebody's gonna pay $150 for it. And obviously the people that don't, then they're not your market. So, when I see things that I like, and I know people created it and put the energy into it, it's like, okay, like, I like this, I want it. Like, I'm not gonna barter with you for it. Like, I appreciate what you put into it, the quality and things like that. So I'll pay what you're asking.
MOT, what is your opinion on this?
For forcible contract, I mean, I don't argue. I just go downtown, pay the $35, and take it out small claims court. Like, I don't have any time to be messed up.
I should have known you go straight to court. I do everything in writing. I'm not a naysayer. I don't go off of, hey, let's just shake hands. Like, listen, I already learned from the Native Americans and the goddamn Pilgrim. Like, shit, you don't got to listen. Paperwork in black ink speaks volumes at court. Paperwork and black ink speaks volumes at court. This is why, like I said, and you can ask Red. I was breaking it down for her about about real estate.
Yeah.
You like, dang, you make it seem like you're reading it from a manual, because my law of what I go by, I do not break. I don't break from it. I agree with Red, and I agree how she said that. Listen, if you know what you got is good, like I said, we build and design homes. Everybody knows my homes are good quality. You pay for what you get for it. You want a 2-bedroom? Hey, price is gonna go up. You want a 1-bedroom? Hey, this is what the price. You want a 3-bedroom? Listen, you want it? Okay, you want a powered shower that can also scratch your back? Okay, that's gonna cost extra. When you start you pay for the service that you get. That's how it works. Now I put out good service, but for me, when I was working my way from the ground on up, at first I couldn't just, for people to want to really look at you, they got to see your product, or they got to see the work. And let's be for real. When coming to deal with certain people, they always say the white man's ice is always colder. Okay, I got to get analytically with y'all. They always say that. And sadly, for black people, we really don't take each other's prices, or minorities, we don't take our prices seriously. Some people are business honest, but then other people are like, why should I? And I don't agree that you should have to lower your price. Once you are set in stone, listen, I don't budget my price for nobody. You come to me, oh man, Joe, you charging me $750? You damn right. I'm not going to come down on my price. But when I first started, when I first started on doing like renovating and work, I had to compete. Now, when I started having that type of income, that's stable. At first, the thing is, the name of the game is to get the contracts and get them comfortable with you. The way how the U.S. has been getting people to go with them is you got to offer them something that other people cannot meet. Even if it sometimes means when you're giving away something for free. Now, I know a lot of y'all are like, whoa, I don't do nothing for free. But once you sample my product and you know it's good, you're gonna come back. Like I speak this because I have to do this. I have to. Again, for like BMT, I don't have to really get. The people I ask to back me financially, we do this. Now we're doing other levels of stuff now. But there is going to come a time where once we get to that certain level where we're going to start telling people like, hey, if you want to do the deluxe suite of BMT, you got to pay to play. But right now, it's free. And as you see, the content's good. We're longevity. You got a great panel of MOT. You got Red. You got Nicole. You got Healthy. You got a lot of people. You see us on more. You seeing us on more shows and doing more things. But as your product and your placement starts to grow, you gotta keep the machine going. This is the same for business, religion, and life. So let's look at the next question. And that was good, guys. I really did enjoy answering it. One guy says the Latino small business would undercut the larger companies, but make the money back on sheer quantity of jobs done. And yes, Walmart has done that. Walmart always does that. That's why nobody can really beat Walmart anymore. Because if you bring a price to Walmart and you show them the price and you show them the same product in their store, they will have to match that price. Did y'all know that with Walmart? They have to match the price. It's their policy. However, the Latino businesses rarely have had insurance or bid it. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Red is correct, but the Small Businesses Association says that 20% of new business fall in the first year. Yeah, I told you one. Yeah, they fall really quickly. Like I said, that first 3 years, man, it's about you got to land those contracts.
What are they failing due to? Because, like, for instance, with my friend, the reason why I reasoned with her the way I did is like, okay, how much is it costing you to make your product? Because she has special jars. So to buy, a 12-pack of mason jars, that might cost you like $25. So you got to at least make that $25 back. You don't want to, put out your product and then not make a profit. Then, the ingredients for what you do. So, I mean, maybe, these businesses are failing because they're undercutting themselves or they're not getting the proper ROI. So it's like, okay, you got to take in account everything, materials, your time, your energy, like things like that's what you're getting paid off of. You're not just getting paid off the sheer product itself. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and ask a few more questions. Let me finish what he said. He says 20% new businesses fall in the first year, 34% in the first 2, 50% during the first 5, and 70% fail during the first 10 years being open. I want to disagree with that.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with those stats though, but it's okay.
Okay, Nicole, I know you and Red, I know y'all got a lot of statistics for stuff. So that's why
it's just not quite accurate what he's saying. I'm just saying it's not quite where we are. And the reason why businesses fail is because a lot of people started for the wrong reason, poor management and lack of capital.
Yes. I agree.
I could give you more accurate stats.
No, I know you can, but here's what I tell you.
I'm just going to send it to you.
I know you are. I knew you was going to do. Damn it, y'all. See what y'all started with her? All right, let me tell you right now. If you're going to start a business, let me tell you what we talked about at Boston Technical College. We had a business meeting where we had corporate sharks come there. Now, I don't know if y'all know about corporate sharks. They are very vicious when it comes to the corporate world. Like, those motherfuckers eat, sleep, money. Like, that's all they believe in. Like, that's their religion. The thing about it is, if you're going to make money, you got to have another 1 to 2 sources of money to bring in money. MOT, do you agree with me when I say that? Like, for you to have your own, you got to make money constantly coming in. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to have MOT answer that because I see a lot of y'all, when y'all start your businesses, y'all just stop working and then just start just doing your business. MOT, please break that down because why is that a bad thing, especially for people who are trying to become self-made? Why is that a bad thing to do or practice?
Well, I mean, they fail because they don't know how business works. One. I mean, owning and running a business is about being the most confident person there and tracking your product from the it's all about the manufacturing process. Like outside of the money and outside of the capital investment, the non-time investment, the having all this overhead with wives and cars and houses, and you make poor investment choices whenever you make the $2. Now you got to figure that you have to buy this $300,000 house, all the dumb stuff that people do. Like outside of that, you have to be incredibly competent at whatever you're trying to bring to the table. Now, a lot of people have a very hard time with that. They think that, if there's more people in business, then things be great. Like, no, people want things that actually work. They want things that actually have a warranty. They want things that actually have good craftsmanship to it, and they want decent customer service. And a lot of people don't want any critique on their product, no matter what it is. And that critique is what can really set your product aside from other people's product. And then they're paying too much because they don't know the manufacturing process of the product. Rather than trying, I mean, I quite literally knew a guy who owned a restaurant. He was next door to Kroger. He went into Kroger to buy meat. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, man, you need to go find yourself a farmer. So, farmer, 35 miles outside the city. That farmer was happy as hell to get that dude that stuff for a 20th of what he was paying for in Kroger. But it's just that if you don't know your line of how your product is brought to the market, like, so you can have your product made in China, Taiwan, Malaysia, Vietnam. I mean, it's like China and their tariffs ain't the only people out there. There's a hell of a lot more other companies out there that you can use. But it's just that people don't want to go track their product from origin to actual market. I'm talking if it's food or actual like consumer. And that's where people mess up at, because you got people over there who are pretty much doing all the work for you and just taking 35% of your profit margin because you don't want to research profit. So that's all I got on that. And then, people don't have business credit. They're not trying to build business credit. Credit's messed up. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into
Okay. Let me say this, and I want to capitalize on that.
Best.
Go ahead. We can hear you now. Go ahead. No. I was going to capitalize on what you were saying about traveling, because what you just said was something that you don't hear enough people talk about, especially when it comes to business. Let me tell y'all this right now. A lot of y'all might want to go get a passport and travel to the source. I can't tell how many times I was in the military and I saw a random civilian in China. And I'd be like, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm here buying shirts. What? Yeah, they sell them for like, 2 cents, for the dollar. Like, wait, you're buying t-shirts for 2 cents? And there were so many t-shirts. It's been like, not saying, y'all don't understand. When y'all go to these sources of places like India, China, and it's a passport. Passport don't cost that much money. Literally, unless you got something crazy going on in your life, you got to go to the source. You can go to doggone Jamaica and go buy the trinkets and sell them from your car or from a little store. Like, it does not cost nothing. I know a guy who goes to India to the temple and buys the weave for cheap. Like, he goes right there. They take donations from the temple. These people cut off their hair and he buys it. They clean it up, they package it, they send it right there to him. Some of the hair is already there at his mama's house before he even gets there. He has a very successful business going. But the thing about it is, are you willing to invest in yourself and travel? This is the thing about it. And again, I'm telling you, when I first started out, I already had I had two streams of income coming in. This is why, again, it deals with management and income. I can't say it's just luck. Well, there's a little bit sprinkle of luck on it, but you got to be willing to go out of your way and do things if you want to become successful. Every last one of us can tell you right now on this panel, we've done and spent hours. You're going to have the thing about it. When you start a business, you can't be bragging. You can't be boastful. There's no buying cars. There's no buying the latest gear. Oh man, I just made a check for $1,000. You bank it. Every last one of us will agree. You bank that money. When you start banking the money, you save it for a rainy day. But I promise you, one thing about it, these new owners of businesses, they always spend the money like they fun. Oh, I just got $100,000. Pay off the building for a year. I just made $250,000. Why not just pay off all your shit so that way everything else you make after that is free cash flow? Y'all guys get what I'm saying? Like, I really wish people understood this because it's too easy. And this is something that I continuously see happening. Like, my cousin literally had it going for herself, but she wanted to go flaunt and take her boyfriend and her to Trinidad and take all her girlfriends. And I'm like, who the hell's running your store? Oh, I closed it up. We got money. Oh, shit. I'm like, okay. Nicole said that's stupid.
Yeah, that's extra.
I forgot to mute.
Nicole was like, that's stupid.
It's stupid. What can I say? Yeah, I mean, I would never do that.
But what I'm gonna start off with Red. Why is it when people start seeing their checks, they start getting reckless? Can you afford, when you become self-made, to start getting reckless and get lax?
I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning, when I started seeing some real money, I did do some things that I always wanted to do, but I never jeopardized my money. You know what I'm saying? The money had to keep coming in, even if I was on vacation and working. But back to what you said, I agree. Like, debt is the enemy of, trying to make it. I have a friend that she showed me her bank account a few days ago. We do stuff like that. And in her IRA, she had like over, in her 401k, she had over like $75,000.
Yeah.
Her savings account, she had over 150,000. She paid for her own school out of her pocket. She was basically like, when she gets paid, she pays everything in one paycheck. So her rent is included in that paycheck, her electric, her utilities, her cell phone, everything like that. And then that second paycheck that she gets, she puts it all in savings. She's from Africa, but right now she ended up building a house from the ground up, like brand new house. Like, you can't be frivolous with your money. You got to know, like, you got to be able to discipline yourself and watch that money grow. And if you do have debt, like Josiah said, you got to be willing to throw that money at that debt to get rid of it, because it only benefits you in the end. Now, if you're making money, but you owe a lot of people money, that just doesn't make sense, because you're going to continue to put out more than you put in as that interest builds on those debts that you have. So for me, I try to steer clear of that. Like you said, if I want something, I try to pay for it cash, like push myself to that, save it. Like, I don't try to just, when I get my paycheck, just go out and blow like $1,000. Like, that's crazy to me. But that was my young way of thinking. But as I got older, my new way of thinking is, like you said, like, forget the labels. Like, I was thinking the other day, I was like, man, I got like a lot of stuff, in terms of like clothes. I primarily buy, work clothes or whatever, because that's, how I get my money. But thinking back to the day where I really didn't have nothing. And then, like you said, when it's time for me to have that option, it's like, all right, like some t-shirt and some jeans. Like, it's not about buying a bunch of labels and things like that, or trying to finesse for people to see you. Like, as long as you solid and like, you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want, you got a roof over your head and things of that nature. What other people think of you, it really doesn't matter. You're just secure. Like, okay, I can do this if I wanted to, but I choose not to at this moment.
Okay. What do you say about that? What do you say about that, Nicole?
Well, that's not actually a bad thing. Now I'm not saying to go into debt. I don't believe in going into debt. As
Why
you know,
not? That's good. There's no such thing as
debt
bad debt.
debt is there's bad debt and there's good debt. I mean, if debt wasn't good, then we wouldn't have the what do you call it, national debt. America's not in crisis. The Federal Reserve controls that, and the government is allowed to go so far into debt. So if he's allowed to go so far into debt, that's actually capital and it's cash. So he's not really in debt if he's able to go negative. So that's not actually a bad thing. I'm not going to go broke paying you my last. I will take out a loan since I have capital and I can do that. And then I will bankrupt in a heartbeat. So I'm not going to.
Oh my God.
I'm just.
Oh
I don't need to know what my credit score is because I've never checked my credit score because I'm not going to buy something that I can't afford. But I'm not going. Blacks have to create their own capital. Since we can't get capital, then yeah, I wait for those 7 years to go bankrupt. So, anyways, and so does my wealthier friends who have more than I do. My point is this: I don't. You know, within those first 5 years, you have to be careful. I have good habits. I've had them from the beginning, but I never go into debt starting off. I mean, I borrowed the money with the all I asked is what I didn't have to pay it back, so they were actually giving it to me. So that way I don't start off in red, and then I started my businesses like that as an adult. But if blacks understood that wealth is not income, so you can make $30, $40, $50 an hour, and your net worth can still be zero. So you can make $15 an hour, $8 an hour, but if you don't spend but a quarter of it, then your net worth is more than the person who makes more. So I'm not really impressed when somebody makes a lot. Tell me how much debt you have and what's your net worth. Then I'll be impressed.
Do you consider owning a home as part of your net worth?
It is part of my net worth because I don't owe anything. So
Okay,
my
yeah, so
home,
tracking.
my
So
home just, huh?
I'm sorry, because you said now I don't agree with I mean, if some people are comfortable with that, I feel like,
Comfortable with what?
like the bankruptcy thing.
I'm not saying to go into bankrupt. What I'm saying is this: I am I opposed to it? Will I go broke trying to pay off my bills? No, I won't do that because if I go bankrupt, that means my slate is wiped clean. I don't have to worry about credit. I paid for my house. I didn't owe anything on it with it after 4 years. I'm not worried about it, and I got that from my friend that's worth millions of dollars, and he went bankrupt. It's not it's not a we don't look at it the same as people who make less because it's still money, it's still capital, and just because I went bankrupt doesn't mean that I'm broke. My company can go bankrupt and then I'm going to start it again the next day under a different name. It's not a problem. And the people that don't agree with it, they probably don't have as much capital as I do. I'm not talking about you yourself, but proof is in the pudding. Just saying. I don't know many people that can say they don't have a mortgage and their house is worth more than $500,000 when they were able to sell. I have the paperwork to prove it. For all those that don't believe me, I believe
Stop
strongly
it,
that
Nicole. We ain't trying to see your damn
no.
taxes.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this because people talk. People are Facebook rich. Am I not lying? So what I'm saying is this: I have no problem doing that because the country is in debt, but the country is wealthy. Why is that? Because they understand that there's good debt and there's bad debt.
I
Most
agree
people
there's
don't
good
understand.
debt and there's bad debt.
Okay.
Like the good debt that I agree with you on is real estate. Now, I own a home in DC, so basically it's like, the property value pretty much never goes down. If I would have sold it like, 4 months to a year after I bought it, I would have profited. Even if I hadn't paid it off, I still would have paid it off and then still profited and probably flipped that into something else. But kind of holding on to that. But I agree with you to a certain extent. Like, yeah, the country
The
can go
bankruptcy
into,
thing bugs you. Oh,
yeah,
okay. I can explain it better. Let me explain it because I know what you're saying. Now, do I say just file bankruptcy? No, I do not. However,
Because
in
I
my
see you're doing it for a purpose, but some people would do it, say, okay, let me, like the way you explain it, like, okay, I filed bankruptcy, then the next day open my business in another name. Like
no,
some
that's
people would take
dumb.
that.
That's
Yeah, some
dumb.
people would take
Yeah.
that as like an underhanded way to just get out of debt without, you know, really having a
No, 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 no,
plan.
no.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
let y'all talk
recommend
for a
that.
bit. I gotta do something. I'm gonna let y'all talk for a bit. Go
All
ahead.
right.
I understand what you're saying. Now, that's not what I mean because they don't. If you're not making over six figures and you're filing bankruptcy, that means that you're not managing your money correctly. I'm not talking about filing because you owe $3, $4, $5,000. In my
Yeah.
case, I had it, but again, I don't care what my credit is. I don't care about anything like that. I
Because
simply
you don't need the credit, you pay
no.
for things in
I
cash.
pay for it in cash. Yeah. So if I can't pay for it within 2 years, I don't want it. With the exception of a house, I'll give myself 5 years to pay for a mortgage. So,
Yeah.
but usually I buy the whole thing. Like I won't buy a car unless it's extra, but I don't really buy stuff. I only buy things that appreciate in value. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not now on the flip side of that, I don't recommend that for everyone because people don't need as much as I did. Everybody has to determine what makes them comfortable. But for me to start businesses, I'm an entrepreneur, I had to build my own capital. And since black people can't get small business loans, I had to make my own capital. But I had the money that I was bankruptcy on in the bank. So I was sitting already on like 70, 80,000 at the time. I bankrupted because that was my capital. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how
Because
does
I
that
wanted to
go?
buy.
How does
How
that
does
go
that?
with once you isn't like once you file bankruptcy, they look at your assets. So how does that go to the people that
No,
you okay.
because I filed it under my business and I filed it under a corporation. So, oh, wait, where am I going? So I bankrupt my business because I showed no profit after the 5 years, and I just couldn't pay. I just bankrupted under the corporation name, not under my name.
Which is
So, and it
separate from your yeah,
yes,
tracking.
it's an entity on its own. You know, that's why I recommend that people LLC doesn't give you a lot of protection if you're gonna go that route. Depends what
Hmm.
kind of business you have. So when I filed bankruptcy, I was filing it saying that this business is not making anything now. I'm not gonna pay any more debt. I purposely accrued the debt and everything like that, so I didn't have to pay it off. And I kept my money in the bank and started another business, as I just changed my business name, which
Cool.
already had three names anyway. That's the kind of debt I'm talking about, not the average person that's trying to go into debt because they're trying to not pay a bill. No,
Yeah.
we could pay our bill, but we wanted to keep, like the people in my circle, like we try to keep our money to buy something else without taking out a loan. So that's how we did it.
Mm, that's interesting. MOT, you own businesses. Like, what do you think about that?
No, that's the appropriate way to do. Yeah, that's the appropriate way to do things. Everybody does it. I mean, that's why it's
Really?
called bankruptcy. Yeah, that's why it's called bankruptcy protection.
Huh?
Keyword.
Exactly.
You learn
Yeah.
something new every day.
And it stops the orders against you if you're getting something repossessed or something like that. I'm just saying, protection is a great word. I'm glad he said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, in my line of work, because well, I won't say, but in my line of work, that would be a negative and it would affect my ability to get money because in the government's eyes, it's like I don't know how to manage my money. So for them, it'd be like, oh, you'll trade off some secrets because you were in debt, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but those are. I mean, because I do government work too, and as long as you're
I see what
upfront
you're
with them,
saying.
it doesn't even factor into you getting actual government contracts. It doesn't even
Oh,
factor in.
really?
No, it doesn't. Because
Yes,
you're getting a
Let me use
contract.
white queen. I have
You
that
just,
problem.
yeah, I mean, because you filed bankruptcy under this company, but you're getting a contract based on this company. They're not going to ask you all types of questions. They just want to know if you can do the work or
Yeah.
not. Like you file a bit, like nobody really
Take
cares
out a
about that.
personal loan.
Yeah,
It's different.
Yeah, okay, tracking. Well, you learn something new every day. So yeah, so you're definitely saying you wouldn't do it in your personal life, but your
Oh
business world, you would do it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I do everything under my business name, banking,
Tracking.
everything.
I think I took it as oh, like personal bankruptcy. It's like, oh no, like why would you do that?
No, I tell my friends not to do that stuff. I mean, pay it off. But if you don't pay it off, I mean, number one, never pay a creditor because a lot of people are paying these credit companies and it doesn't improve your credit. They already bought the account. It does nothing but make them rich. If people didn't pay it, they wouldn't be in business. They have to learn that there's a statute of limitation on everything. Let things go. So you get a ding. Black people are charged more interest than other people. You just have to kind of, in your case, I understand it, but for the average Joe, stop paying all those bills off. If it's been 10 years, there's a
Oh
statute of
yeah,
limitation. Yeah,
yeah. Was
never
like
pay a
7.
creditor. Pay the person you made the agreement with.
Yeah,
yeah, because
Yeah,
some
because
places
the
it's
account's
5,
already bought.
some places it's 10. So
It's what?
it depends on how bad it is.
I
You know,
thought it
for
was
like,
7.
yeah. I thought it was 7 too.
Yeah, it's like
nah,
7, at
like
least here in
Colorado,
California.
yeah,
It's
in
5.
Colorado, yeah.
Mm. Once it goes to a creditor, though, there's no point of paying it. You can negotiate with the company, but you're just throwing your money away if it's not the person that because they already bought the account from the company that whoever you had the contract with.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
Don't pay
depending on the
them.
dollar. Like, like when I used to be in the debt, you know, recovery thing, because I did that for about 2 years. Yeah, I mean, you would go in and buy a $30,000 like medical bill for like I don't know, maybe $350, and then you turn around and make that person pay the whole 30,000. How much money did I
Wow,
just make off of one account?
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but that's how
I
they package the bundle and sell it.
I don't pay any of that stuff. I don't agree for the listeners if there's a viewer or whatever. But again, don't pay creditors or companies like that. Pay the company that whoever it is, a hospital, whatever. Once they buy the account, they close the account. So just know that. And as far as that's not such a bad thing. Don't get stupid debt like because you went shopping or hair weave. Go on in college. The college thing. If you're only gonna be a hairdresser or mechanic, why are you getting a master's degree? It's a prerequisite. Stop going into debt. Why go into debt because you got a college degree when like I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I was going to school trying to get my business license.
Your phone went mute.
I'm saying don't go to school. Just don't get a degree that's not gonna make you anything.
Yeah, I agree. Some people just get degrees that don't make sense and end up going back to school for something that makes more sense. That's,
Thank you. It's a
reality
waste of
based.
money. It's a waste of
Yeah.
money. If my friend went to school for kinesiology, I don't even know what that is, but she's not a dancer or a therapist. She is a hairdresser. It did nothing. Just saying. But you still have to educate yourself. I didn't go to. I went to college, but after 7 years of junior college, I dropped out. I'm
7 years of junior college.
just kidding. I kept going to school, but I hate school. So I'm actually going to go to law school. That's my plan. But just because that's my goal of graduating, that's all.
You know,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to right now. I've been studying for the LSAT to get into law school.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, I'm trying to do like be a cyber consultant basically. So, these big data breaches and things like that come in and investigate those and things of that nature. So that's what I'm looking to in the next couple. That's my 2-year short-term plan. So
Mine too. Not, but
yeah.
the cool thing about law is that once you have your degree, you can. It's not like a doctor where they have like their specialties. You can go to court for, you know what I'm trying to say, right? I don't know. You can go to
Yeah,
other stuff besides your specialty. Does that
yeah.
make
It's
sense? Yeah.
I think it's still like a little bit. You still have to. Well, you still have to practice law in like your specialty, but you have a lot of continuing education and things like that that you have to go through. So, I mean, I don't know much about it now, but hopefully, starting the fall of 2019, I will. So,
Good for you. That's awesome. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I have no goals.
I keep a few in my back pocket. I thrive off of goals. Like I'm the type. It's like here's a mountain, I need to conquer it, and then if there's not another mountain, I get really depressed. So I have to constantly do something and do something more than I did the year before. So I'm constantly outdoing myself.
Check you out.
Nice.
I'm focusing on Washington. I'm going to meet Mr. Trump. Let's hope I don't get killed.
Oh yes, definitely when you're in town, ring me up. I'm right
Is that
here in
when
the
you?
city.
Oh, okay. I definitely would take you up on that. I'm going there. I have to make a few trips. Right now, we're talking
Okay.
about a few things with our community. So I'm hoping that things could be different for our people because it's not fair to ask people who's been afflicted their lives what they need to come out of their situation because they don't have the tools and the means to answer that question. That's the
Yeah,
government's job.
yeah.
You can't ask a sick person how to heal themselves. They're not a doctor. The government has to fix it and they know exactly what to do. Stop the nonsense. That's why I'm going to Washington. So we're going to have a meeting and I'm hoping that I know it's going to be a process, but I have I sued the government before, but this one has to go past that and all the way to the Supreme Court because I'm suing for the 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 treatment
Oh,
of black men and the hostility towards the
thank
black
you.
men
Have a
in this
nice one.
country. So that's my goal.
That's good. What do you think about what Trump's done lately with the prison reform?
I am Republican. I don't like
You're
Trump.
a Republican.
Yeah, that's another
Oh,
panel. That's another
yeah,
day.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Josiah
I
is
don't.
gonna have to come back because we're
Yeah, I am. I don't believe in government involvement in our lives because how can you ask for help from the person who oppressed you in the first place? So
No,
I'm for the
wrong.
least government involvement in our lives, in our personal lives. No welfare, no nothing.
Yeah, but
Mm.
conservatism is the reason why the government's fucked up in the first place. White
Uh-oh.
conservatism is what we are fighting. They're not fair. They've never been fair. If you want the government to work, you need to kick every white conservative out of office who's over 40. You can't be in government, period. Because you grew up under this Ronald Reagan-esque type thing to where you don't give a shit about government. Now, you got government who are outpacing us because we don't want to spend money on investment. We just leave it up to other people to do it. It's absolutely insane.
I'm
I,
confused. Are you for government or not?
yes, I'm for government that
I
that
see.
works. And if you say
Okay.
that you're not for government, then I want you charged with sedition because that's what that is.
What I'm saying is in our personal lives, like running our families, that kind of stuff,
No, no, no.
for
You do need
support.
that. Yes, I mean, because otherwise, you'll have these creepy motherfuckers marrying 13-year-olds. So we
We
do
already
need.
have it. It's legal in most states besides two now. And that changed this year. You can marry
Well,
a minor. Nothing's changed there. It's
okay,
legal.
well, okay. So how do you get all this stuff if the government gives out all these powers? Why would you not want the government to take some of this shit away? Like, how does that work? Like, you
The
believe in
government
government?
hasn't worked for us. Number one, Republicans are the ones that wanted slavery, and Republicans are the ones that tried to pass the reparations bill.
It's
And the
not
Democrats have shot.
a
That's a
Republican
fact.
Party.
The last time was
Hey,
2016 by the Republicans.
listen, listen. You're looking at it wrong. And let me tell you why you're looking at it wrong. I am from Mississippi. There is nowhere
I
in
have family
American
there.
history that Mississippi was full of Democratic liberals. Okay?
Blacks
You're
used to be
looking at
all
it.
Republican, though, mostly.
I'm not done explaining. There is a difference
Oh.
between liberals and conservatives. Slavery was a very Christian conservative thing. The moment you start bringing up Democrats, most people haven't moved in 5 generations. I track religion, who they are, and where they live. So So you can't say the Republicans who fought from the North are somehow the same Republicans who are now in the South. You can't say stuff like that.
I didn't
Because
say that. I didn't say that.
No,
I agree. I can't say that.
I'm just saying that conservatives are the problem. Conservatives in government are the problem. Here. Remember, you don't believe in government, so you shouldn't be in it.
I didn't say I don't believe in government.
No. I'm just saying that when people want to do nothing but cut taxes, they're nothing but a threat to our entire country. Like, if the only thing the conservatives want to do is cut taxes and spend money on the military, I consider you a threat to our country. Period.
And the Democrats aren't.
No, they are.
But look at history. Yeah. Democrats are.
Again, you're trying to count the Democrats from the 1800s to the Democrats of today.
Nope, I'm calling them from after the Civil War, after the 1900s.
Democratic liberals are not the same as Democratic conservatives.
Okay.
Democrats from back in the day, where were they located at? Where were they located?
You talking about the Democrats?
Yes. Who tried to secede from the Union? Where were they located? Where were they located?
I don't understand the word.
No, it's a very simple, easy thing to say they were from the South. It's very easy.
No black person should be Democrat. So I'm just saying.
That's why I'm saying that you have to understand the difference between what the United States is.
You have to understand what the Democrats have done. Only made broken promises.
I knew y'all two would find each other eventually.
You know, you're not. I know that I'm correct, so I'm just going to be humble and say that I will research that I'm right. But I know I'm not supposed to say that.
God, you're going to meet is a traitor to our country, miss, and you're happy about it. Happy.
Can I tell you what's a traitor?
Russia to win an election.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Wrong because
guys.
Yes.
Can we set this up for a Thursday debate with MOT and Nicole? Can we set that up for a time for y'all two to have y'all debate?
It's fine. It's just that when you have these newfound conservatives who's out to meet you don't give a fuck about black people. That shit really gets on my nerves.
MOT, you sound far, brother.
To make fake promises than to actually go through with them. Democrats were majority in Congress, remember? They could have passed the law without the president, but did they? No, they did not.
Okay. Please, I would ask y'all to.
Okay.
I'm going to do a show Thursday for y'all too. I would like to do one Thursday or Friday. Is the new generational conservative for blacks. I'm going to do one for y'all. I'm going to do MOT. I'm going to do with Nicole. I will gladly let y'all two debate it out for a whole hour.
I can answer that now. Blacks, we ain't got nothing to conserve.
So, Lord. We're going to have a debate on this one. We're going to have a debate on this one. This is going to be a good one. I know it's going to be interesting. Y'all two, I know y'all two y'all going to have some pretty hot topics. Thank you, Lord, for Red. She was like, "Get your ass back," and I was like, I ran all the way back in my house shoes. I was like, "What?" I should have known these two was politics was somewhere around the corner. I need to go have my own political debate channel, so that way, some of y'all got some policies that y'all be throwing out there.
I got a question. All right. Other than meeting Trump just to be meeting him, what are going to be your demands for the black community when you do meet?
Union. Can you explain union? Sorry. What do you mean by union?
Okay.
I don't know if you can understand.
Okay. You're happy to go see the president, which is fine. As far as black conservative, what issues are you going to bring up to the president?
Okay, the things that are unconstitutional towards the black community, as far as the KKK, not having the Constitution does not apply to our people. When you look at the killings of the black man and the unlawful incarcerations, those are crimes against him.
Yeah,
those are the things that I want to address.
What party runs Alabama?
I'm sorry.
What party runs Alabama?
Listen, I'm always going to be Republican, and I'm hoping to convince more people to be Republican because I don't believe in fake promises. And remember, the Fair Housing Project, the GI Bill, all of those things that were brought into place, blacks were not able to use them. It was illegal. Welfare was for the white people. So why would you still be Democrat? That's a lie that was told to black people for centuries now.
It was not. The same people who enslaved people in Alabama are the same people who shot that guy. Who's in charge of investigating that guy? They're the same.
Who turned down the reparations bill? Democrats.
Miss, they haven't moved in 5 generations. Part of a new party. And you're so unwilling to not even consider that fact.
Because black people's wealth hasn't moved, so why would these broke people still be Democrat when they haven't gained any income or wealth? It hasn't worked in 50 years. It's not going to wait in 50 more. It's not going to work in 50 more. Your question is what?
Okay. What is Jeff Sessions done for the people?
I don't think we're supposed to be talking about this until Thursday. Okay. But let me tell you, I'm not for the president. This is a republic democracy. I'm for those values, though. I don't like Trump, but I won't vote Democrat because it doesn't pay for black people to be Democrats.
Okay, guys.
This is going to be fun. Because we're going to start from the Civil War.
Oh, my research is already done, so I hope you can catch up.
Okay, guys. Let me bring y'all back.
I'm good. I'm excited. Don't worry.
Come back to me, y'all.
So I'm back.
Nicole, save your research for that debate. And Mati, I already know he literally keeps hanging notes in his truck waiting for these debates. So
it's in my head.
Oh Lord, y'all too. Thank you, Jesus, for people like Red. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. You guys, thank y'all for joining us. I got another show I got to do in like probably 20 to 30 minutes coming up on the life, the history, the struggles of Job Corps. It's going to be done by me and Healthy. We're going to talk about Job Corps and our triumphs and our jubilees and why you as a person should never go to Job Corps. It doesn't work. It's not safe. If you like being there, I would think Tekashi 6ix9ine would probably be better off in prison than Job Corps. So it's that's pushing it too. So we're going to literally break down why Job Corps is not the place to fuck around with. So I want y'all to listen to the message because it's probably going to save a lot of y'all. Don't believe that bullshit that they tell you about Job Corps. Because the inmates that don't go to prison, guess where they go to? Job Corps.
Holy crap! I thought they went to the army.
No. The army don't go to Job Corps. The army don't take them. They go to Job Corps. When you got a felony and the judge said you got 2 places to go. You go to jail or you go to Job Corps. Guess where they always go? Job Corps.
Wow.
Jail.
Well, that would be in a perfect world, but enough of them ain't going there. So
I guess it's like church. I guess.
Listen, I learned how to make shanks out of bricks, out of broken off bricks and doggone toothpaste and soap. So,
but Job Corps is funded by the Republicans.
Oh geez.
Oh my God, that was low blow right there. It maybe was started by Republicans, but they didn't envision the nigga in Job Corps.
No comeback.
They didn't envision us in Job Corps. So
they was doing coal mining and stuff like that, factory jobs.
Yeah, it was originally factory jobs.
Comeback for that because I never looked into it.
We're gonna do the show in a few minutes, so y'all tune in, please. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, if you want to hit us up, please send us a message or email. I will get it to these guys. Between Nicole, I can ask Miss Red. She can tell you about some stuff. MOT. So you guys, we'll see y'all in a few minutes. Me and Healthy we can't wait to do this topic about Job Corps. All right, guys. See ya.